Hey guys, this is Jace from Gridiron Football coming at you with another episode of the Chase with Jace, and we had a lot to go into and really dive in. So uh, appreciate y'all guys for watching. Make sure, like always, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to visit our website, gridironfootballusa.com. We got all kinds of things in store for you this football season, whether it's LSU, the NFL, high school football, you name it. We got a lot of stuff for you. So make sure to keep posted at gridironfootballusa.com. Obviously, if y'all go into our website and keep track with us, there's been some big announcements, big news about this year's Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game and our location. So we're super excited that we're going to be playing it in Pineville. We're returning the bowl game there in Pineville. So we're really excited about that at Louisiana Christian University. So we can't wait to be at LCU, and we're going to have more about that in a couple of weeks. I'm going to sit down with Andy and Marcus, and we'll discuss bringing it back to Louisiana Christian University. So, guys, make sure, like I say, make sure to follow us on social media. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, you name it. And we appreciate all support. So let's go into it. You can, for more, you can actually go to our website, like I mentioned, gridironfootballusa.com for a complete practice report. But we will spend at least about 15 minutes just talking about today's practice. And there's been really a lot to talk about today when discussing practice. We got a whole availability after the first couple of days. Remember the first day we got the whole practice, and you're able to see that. And the second day, we got about 3 periods, 15 minutes, and they kicked us out after that. Yesterday, they had kind of like another practice, and it wasn't from the media, so we got back there today, and we got to see a whole lot. Just like a couple of days ago, we first started seeing a lot of special teams work. So just kind of going through what we saw special teams wise. We both saw Damian Ramos and Aaron Burrell continue to kick. Of course, Aaron Burrell showed off the leg once again. He hit another a deep kick from about 45 yards out, and it looked like it was good from like 60 yards. There's no question about his leg. I mean, there is no question about how good his leg is. It's just really more about just being consistent, right? But he is going to be the guy eventually. Now, I mean, he might have a little bit of a role this year, especially maybe get Damian Ramos, get him to be like the 40 and in kicker, and maybe Burrell might have a role with this team 40 yards and out, just because of his legs. So we'll see how that works and how that transpires over the course of fall camp, and as we obviously get into Clemson too. And we also got a little bit of a look. We saw what both kickers were able to do indoors, because what they do is they both rotate making kicks. So we got to see a lot of that. But we also got to see a lot of Grant Chadwick as well. You know, Grant Chadwick is the Middle Tennessee transfer. Remember, you don't have your two punters from last year, Peyton Todd. He hit the transfer portal. So you're really trying out a new punter right now. And Grant Chadwick, well, being out there, you saw some moments, right? You saw some really good punts, some deep punts, some with some pretty good hang time, and then the next punt you'd see a shank, you know. So it's just some inconsistency there right now at the punter at that spot. But it looks like they're going to roll with Grant Chadwick. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a competition. That's going to be the good news. Last year, you're kind of fine to see who would take those reps as a punter. Now you have your guy, so you're going to try to get him as much reps as you can, getting Grant Chadwick as many repetitions. So that's what's going to be really good about it. We saw Xavier Thomas returning punts. That was going to be a look as well. So we saw Xavier Thomas, Barian Brown, Kyle Parker, and Philip Wright. They're all returning punts there today. So we got to see a little bit of an extra look in the punting game as well today, starting things off. And I know the biggest headline really going into today's practice is if Aaron Anderson was going to show up. So we didn't really see him at all a couple of days ago. Now we did see him today. He just was not participating with the team. He was on the sidelines, which was good, but he had a sleeve on his left leg. And I thought a couple of days ago, and I said in the last practice report, that I thought I did see him trying to stretch out his left leg, stretching something out. So maybe that has something to do with that. But he was out there in good spirits. I mean, he was with the wide receiver core. He just was not dressed. And like I mentioned earlier, it's nothing to really freak out freak out about right now if you're an LSU fan. They're just so deep at wide receiver. It's not really a problem. You want Aaron Anderson to be ready for when LSU kicks off the season against Clemson. So you want him to be ready then. So if it's a matter about sending him out, getting some of these other guys more reps with Garrett Nussmeier, I'm all for it because you know what he can do, and you know what that rapport he has with Garrett Nussmeier. So allow some guys to get some opportunities. I mean, Nick Anderson looks like he's getting healthy. He looked really good out there at 101s. He had a jump ball out there. He caught over Mansour Delane, just kicking off the 101 session. Chris Hilton had a couple good catches today during 101 on 7-on-7. Baron Brown caught a deep pass. And I believe that was Jakeem Jackson. I was trying to cover him during 101s today, but he beat Jakeem Jackson deep. So that was another thing. Destin Hill, I mean, he got some first team reps, which was good because I think you reward him for his work this week. I think he was pretty dominant this week. I mean, you already know about what I talked about a couple of days ago about how dominant Destin Hill was. So just getting him some looks with the first team. We got to see a lot of moving around today, and I'm going to talk a lot about that offensively and defensively. Different wide receiver sets, different looks on the offensive line. Now it was for the most part the same group. What the only difference we got to see a little bit more looks of Cohen Eccles. He was in there at left guard in front of DJ Chester, so he got some reps there. But behind those guys at the tackle position hasn't looked too bad. I mean, be honest with you. Tyree Adams has looked pretty good so far throughout the course of the couple practices we've been seeing. Weston Davis has had some moments too. He's looked pretty good with the first team unit too. And then you look at the guys behind him, and Carius Kern. There's a lot of hype around Carius Kern, and he's had some really good reps, and he's been pretty impressive. And somebody that's going to challenge. You need somebody that can really push you in front. I mean, competition makes you better. So I think Carius Kern is going to make Tyree Adams look better. And yeah, I mean, I think competition, like Brian Kelly said earlier this week, is going to make everybody better. So that's what's a really good part about it. We got to see some 11-11, and a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today, what really stood out is how many different positions and how many different ways they're going to try to get Juwan Johnson to football this year. The first rep for today, when we talk about 11-on-11, I mean, this is the first team offense. I'm not talking about the second team offense or anything. This was the first team offense being out there today. Juwan Johnson took a direct snap. That was the first play, and then he's taking some plays with that quarterback zone read. He's got a lot of reps there, and then he actually lined up at running back. And be honest with you, right now, I think you actually put whatever way you can put Juwan Johnson on the football field. That's what you want to do. And really, I think the way in for him is at the running back position. Now, Caden Durham has looked really good today. I mean, you can tell that he's healthy. He was able to cut, maneuver, see the holes. Caden Durham looks like he's going to be in for a great season. Now, the question is, who is going to be the guy you're going to rely on behind Caden Durham? Because remember, before the ankle injury, Caden Durham was on pace to having this really great season. Then the ankle injury happened. Now, can Caleb Jackson step up? I mean, Caleb still looks, he still looks like he is a little heavy, probably a little heavy for himself, and he's probably back around where he's been at. I mean, he's probably around 230 pounds. I still would like him to drop another 10, 15 pounds, but we'll see how that goes. And Joe Sloan's being really creative in the running game. From what I was able to see today, that was kind of like a main takeaway I saw today. They had Juwan Johnson out there. They lined Xavier Thomas at running back besides Garrett Nussmeier, and they threw basically like a outlet pass, a swing pass to Xavier Thomas out of the backfield. Xavier Thomas has gotten some touches at the running back position, so it looks like Joe Sloan's being pretty creative with the number of offensive weapons he really has, and Hey, expect a little bit about that. I mean, you have, like Brian Kelly mentioned, 8 legitimate SEC wide receivers. Why not put 1 or 2 of them in a in a running back role, right? Toss it to them. Get swing passes. You got Jelani Watkins, who's with the 3rd team, and he's one of the fastest guys in all of college football, and he's with your 3rd team. So he can be a gadget guy as well. Put him in motion, do a bunch of jet sweeps and pop passes and drags and stuff like that with them. Just get him the ball in open space. That's what you're going to try to do with a guy as talented as Jelani Watkins. But I'm really excited to see how Joe Sloan's going to use these pieces on the offense side of the football. And I saw a little bit of that today, when inserting Juwan Johnson at running back. You also insert Xavier Thomas in at running back. Some of those pieces, chess pieces, moving in and out, and then Cam Durham being your number one guy, obviously. And you can insert Caleb Jackson in a short yardage goal line, because he is your biggest back on your team. Insert him while you're trying to get the freshman running backs like Harlem Berry and JT Lindsey kind of acquainted over the course of the year, because I think their load is going to increase, and you saw that with Cam Durham as a freshman last year too. So let's go talk about also 11 on 11 offensively before we move on to some things I saw on the defensive side of the football. Kyle Parker looked really good today too. That's kind of like another takeaway. There's something I want you to take away from. Kyle Parker looked really good today, and it's kind of crazy because you got all these big time weapons on offense. We talked about. I rattled off the names earlier, but really caught up in all of this is Kyle Parker. I mean, last year Kyle Parker was in there with the 1st team, with the 1st team wide receiver group, and remember he caught a touchdown, the deep pass from Garrett Nussmeier against UCLA, and he was factoring himself. Looked like he was getting a little bit of momentum, and he has a season-ending injury. So a lot of people forget about Kyle Parker, but he had a little bit of a role today. A lot of underneath passes from Garrett Nussmeier trying to get him. He has a great ability to move after the catch and make plays. He just kind of has that ability to kind of wiggle around defenders, and he just has that elusive ability after the catch. So it looks like they're trying to get Kyle Parker involved, and he's looked really good today. I think he was a guy that really stood out to me, besides Caden Durham. Is Kyle Parker. I mean, you have him as well. Nick Anderson looked really good. Like I mentioned, the jump ball, one-on-one coverage against Mansour Delane, really good today. So there's some positives, obviously offensively. There's a lot of different looks. Garrett Nussmeier looked like like a stud. Like he's been looking like so far through fall camp, and what a lot of people expect him to look like for this upcoming season. I think he only had maybe one incomplete pass, and he was trying to just throw the football away, or maybe two. He had one he was trying to throw away, and another one he was trying to, I think, Xavier Thomas towards the sideline. But yeah, it looked like he was pretty sharp, and he took. I mean, he threaded the needle in some of these passes. There was one where he was trying to hit Xavier, but it was just a good play by PJ Woodland. Had a PBU. I'm going to talk a little bit about PJ Woodland in a little bit, but he was throwing some tight window passes. Another one was Chris Hilton. Hilton made a great adjustment on a catch during 11 on 11. Obviously, I talked about the plays earlier too, and then he also ended the whole practice with, I mean, a looked like it was a post to Trades Green, and he really threw it. It was a bunch of heavy traffic, I mean, involved in the middle, and he somewhat got it there to Trades Green for a touchdown. So it was like he's in command. He ran a little bit too. He was able to scamper for 5-6 yards. So Brian Kelly talked about he's been running 21 miles per hour. So that's in the 4.5. So if you get him more involved with the ground game, I think that's going to just loosen up this defense. He doesn't have to be Jaden Daniels and just outrun everybody every time he runs football, pick up a first down every single time. But like Brian Kelly said, the worst outcome out of every play he wants is 0 yards. So whether it's throwing the ball away or just tucking in and running, pick up 3 or 4 yards with your feet, because Garrett Nussmeier is a good athlete. He can run the football a little bit. So just pick up 3 or 4 yards when you can. So the biggest thing about Garrett Nussmeier, him trying to improve from last year to this year, is to not make those. He's going to throw interceptions. It's going to happen. It's the name of the game. I mean, it's just what it is. But to avoid those, those terrible mistakes when you're trying to extend plays, and that's what Garrett Nussmeier is going to try to eliminate this year. But he looked really sharp as he's always been. So defensively, looking at on the defense side of the football, there was a lot of different looks. I mean, there were a lot of different fronts to look at. They mix and match, and really at the linebacker position, because you pretty much know what you got in Witt and Harold, but you got a lot, pretty much like extended look at Wes Weeks and Devon Keys. And what they did, which is really encouraging to a lot of LSU fans, is they lined Harold Perkins pretty much on the edge as well, as like your star, as an edge rusher. And Harold Perkins got a sack today. He was effective coming off the edge, and that is what LSU fans really want. They want him off the edge, disrupting the quarterback, see ball, get ball, and it looks like they're going back to reverting back to what Harold Perkins did as a freshman. So that was an encouraging sight to see. What was interesting, they were kind of moving around the different fronts and different formations. And I mean, we saw Jacoby Gilroy with the first team. Then we see Jamari Butler with the first team and Gabriel Rutherford with the first team, and they're kind of mixing and matching. One that was interesting was you had, and it looks like this is like they're all their pass rushers here, and that's going to be interesting, especially on third downs. When we talk about them during the season, that this is probably the look that they're going to go for. But you had some of your edge guys, actually Jack Pyburn. Yeah, Jack Pyburn go inside at defensive tackle, and then on the edges, let's see, I had it written down here. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So you had Jack Pyburn on the inside. Then you had Ahmad Bro on the inside as well. And then you had Patrick Payton, Kalaj Cobbins. Those are really all guys that can pass rush the quarterback. So that might be a package that they put out there, especially in third downs. So kind of keep an eye on that. They did that today. It was interesting seeing Jack Pyburn line up inside instead of outside. But that's where they lined him up alongside with Ahmad Bro. Kalaj Cobbins is a guy that's getting a little bit more playing time. Behind Harold Perkins, I mean, I've seen Tylen Singleton at that star role. It's like CJ Jimcali, who had a sack today. He's been getting some reps as well at that star look too. So just keep an eye out on that. Jakeem Jackson, I thought this was interesting. Jakeem, well, he didn't have his best day today because he had a pass interference today on Nick Anderson. It was a clear pass interference, and he got beat a couple of times. But I mean, he's long, rangy guy, and guy that's played a lot in the SEC. But he was one of the cornerbacks today, so I found that was pretty interesting. Alongside Ashton Stamps on the other side. And then at safety, they had, which I think is probably going to be your best bet. We're looking at down the road as the course of the season goes. But I think your two safeties are going to be Tamarcus Cooley, the two transfers, the guys that you brought in. Tamarcus Cooley, he's been pretty much a consistent guy as a safety. And then AJ Halsey had himself a really good day, too. AJ Halsey, he's a Houston transfer. He's big. I mean, he's a big safety. He's physical. He actually went there and inside in the 11-11. He went in there, got his nose dirty, and was able to hit Caleb Jackson in the backfield. So that was a big play throughout the course of today. And another play he made was he showed that he's pretty decent in coverage. Now, can he match up with some of these speedy wide receivers? Because he's kind of a bigger guy, but he did have a PBU today as well. So it looks like those two transfers are going to have an extended look, and most likely could be your two starting safeties. Now you still have Jordan Gilbert too. You have Deshaun Spears. How's that secondary going to look? I mean, they're going to mix and match and see what's obviously the best combination. DJ Pickett has shown some flash as well. Cornerback PJ Woodland had himself a great day too. As a cornerback, he had an interception today with the second team. He picked off Michael Van Buren, the quarterback. I think he just kind of Van Buren just kind of threw it up and threw it up deep and catching like a center fielder would. It was PJ Woodland, and I already mentioned the pass breakup he had earlier in the practice too. So PJ Woodland, remember he really, as last year, really emerged as a guy that could play a whole lot, and this is a guy like he's kind of like Kyle Parker, right? We kind of forget about PJ Woodland, but he's been pretty solid ever since seeing him out there because you have a couple of other guys. I mean, Mansour Delane, Jakeem Jackson, Ashton Stamps, but PJ Woodland, don't forget about him. Seems like he can play as well, and he's going to be involved, and he's going to be involved with defense too. So I mean, that's going to be something to watch out for as well. Offensive line wise, they went like 1-on-1 with the defensive line too. So we've seen that a lot. And with going the offensive line, going 1-on-1s against the defensive line, and we saw a couple of different things there too. We've seen the offensive line win some reps, seen the defensive line win some reps. It's just what it's really been. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle as we approach through and go through fall camp. But let's see, Tyree Adams had a pretty good couple practices, and DJ Chester got in. He was able to go against Bernard Gooden. Bernard Gooden's looked pretty good too, man. I mean, just coming inside with his pass rushing, he's not that overly big, but he is quick, and I think that could really help him. Be a pass rushing type of guy. Donovan McKinley continues to really be a stud. You heard the story that Brian Kelly told a couple of days ago, as with the weightlifting situation when he was squatting 650 pounds and they had to go and get 100-pound weights. And if you weightlift and you power lift, you usually had those 45-pound weights, but they had 100-pound weights. You had to go out and get 100-pound weights that can fit everything on the bar. So it shows you how strong he really is. But Weston Davis went up against Patrick Payton. Gabriel Elford held his own, won a couple reps there. Tyree Adams was looked pretty good. So 1-on-ones, the offensive line has done pretty decent. It's just been, when it's been team, it's been kind of tough blocking the defensive line. It's usually been the defensive line that's gotten the better of the offensive line when we're going to team. So it's been a kind of a different dynamic there. But that's something we're definitely going to really follow more of. But it shows you that there's a lot of good on that. Good out there, and we're going to be seeing a whole lot too. We'll get a more of a schedule next week. We'll probably get that schedule starting tomorrow and seeing what it looks like next week. But yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch. After this has been 1 week, LSU's going to kick off against Clemson in about I think like 4 weeks from now. So there's going to be a lot to really watch and keep up with. But there's just a couple things. If there are a couple takeaways I want y'all to take away from this video today, number one, it's my biggest takeaway is how Joe Sloan is being very creative in the backfield. I think that's like the number one takeaway from today. They really focus a whole lot today on the ground game. Because that first day, I mean, Garrett Nussmeier, he was killing it with the wide receivers. I mean, you know what to expect in the passing game. I think they really had a lot of emphasis today on being physical in the ground game, running the football. You saw Cam Durham get a lot of carries today. Caleb Jackson got a lot of carries today. They add some wrinkles in with Jawan Johnson, and they add some wrinkles in with Xavier Thomas too. So, yeah, that was the emphasis today, and they really worked on that. Special teams wise, Grant Chadwick, I mean, I think he's going to be your guy, but you want to see him to be more consistent. Obviously, the wide receivers are really deep, and Aaron Anderson wasn't out there for another practice today, but they have a lot of other weapons, and they're going to all make an impact. It's going to be tough to try to keep somebody. There's going to be some studs that are on the field. It's just the way it is. There's only so many spots, so many positions you can play, and there's only one football, right? So that's going to be interesting to see how Joe Sloan manages that. Just a number of skilled talent there is on this offense. Offensive line still trying to gel, still trying to really find that chemistry right. Defensive line, for the most part, from what I was able to see, has really won majority of the reps. Does that say about how good the defensive line is? Is the offensive line something to worry about? I mean, you can say yes to both, but that's something we're going to have to kind of progress and see how both those lines of scrimmage progress as we get through the end of fall camp. So, got to see a lot today. If you want to read more about the entire practice report, make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. Looks like I'll get a schedule tomorrow, but it looks like we're going to be obviously we're off tomorrow, and we're going to be looks like we're going to be back at it on Monday. So we'll keep y'all updated once we hear more information. But make sure to follow us on our social media, on Facebook, on X. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. That way, that way you can get caught up with all kinds of videos. We got practice videos. We got the Chase with Jace practice reports. I'll be doing a little practice report on the Chase with Jace after every practice that we have media availability for. And then during the season, we'll have two episodes. We'll have one on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and then we'll have one on Saturday. Now the Saturday one that will be live on Facebook, and it'll be recorded and uploaded on YouTube on Sunday later that day. So if you want to read more about today's practice, you want to see the highlights I was able to cut up today, make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We're getting closer. Another Saturday we got to get through to get closer to college football season. So we're getting pretty close. So make sure to go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com, and follow everything. Like I said, it's all football all the time. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see y'all next time. Another edition of the Chase with Jace.